Yeah, you're giving me an option to leave the meeting. No, not a good idea.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our segment, the Sheila Exchange. We are on every Friday at 5:30 Kuala Lumpur time, and I'd like to welcome you once again. So today's topic is about bringing old school back to school. What does that actually mean, right? So education today has become so focused on academic achievements that children have lost the art of play and the art of learning to live life on normal terms, right? So in the midst of a hectic school week, children are further burdened with lessons other than what's required in the academic curriculum, right? They have to go for music class, dance class, maths class, tennis class, swimming class, and all sorts of classes. So, by the time they reach their teen years, they're kind of burned out. Many of them have never climbed a tree, clean their own room, or even know how to fry an egg. How many of you know how to do these things? Hands up. See my hands up, right? So should we be teaching our children more life skills to cope with the changing world and to instill much needed values that appear to be fast fading today? Well, I have with me a guest who thinks so. All right, meet Joe Yong, known to the younger generation as Uncle Joe, but he's probably younger than me, so I cannot call him Uncle Joe, okay? He's one of the founders of Johan Preschool, a unique educational concept of bringing the old school back to school. Sounds very intriguing. So, I'm really interested to know what this is all about. In his concept of education, children are not just taught letters and numbers and all those regular things. They're also taught unconventional things like how to raise chickens, prepare food, maybe grow their own food, clean bathrooms, and so on, aimed at giving them a more balanced all-round education. Okay, and interestingly, Joe was not an educator to begin with. He's been in the corporate sector, focusing primarily on business development and business turnaround. So how did a person from the corporate sector go and start a school like this? Okay, Joe, first tell us a little bit. Welcome, Joe, first of all. Welcome to the Sheila Exchange.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sheila. Right. Thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. So I'm Uncle Joe, as what people will say and call me, my students. So where did I started? Well, I think it comes from a lot of travels. I've traveled quite extensively. I used to be in a international student organization called ISAC, which is Cultural Exchange and Leadership. We have the benefit of traveling a lot to a lot of countries that people have not heard of. I live in Estonia, where the winter is -30. Yeah, and even though they're a very small country at the very tip left of the map, if they owe you 5 ringgit, an old lady will actually say that, can I pay you through internet banking? This is like 10 years, 15 years ago. So a lot of travels. I've seen children of my friends from Japan, from, of course, various countries, Hong Kong, Taiwan. And I've always been interested about education because when we were in ISAC, it is a non-profit organization born out of war. The only student organization acknowledged by United Nations. So we have seen a lot of things that young people can do. Being young in the university days, we talk about global plans, how to think globally but act locally. So there's a little bit of sense that actually everyone can do something, right? As one of the sayings say that, if not me, who? If not now, when? One of my favorite quotes to my friends. So being interested in leadership, in learning, in education, I'm also growing old myself. And because of this training background, when we look into the real world, somehow we feel that a lot of people, though they are very highly educated, they might not be very wise. And a lot of decisions that they make in the corporate, sometimes we just think about what guided these people to take this sometimes very selfish, one-sided thinking. So yeah, and I'm also very fortunate given by my boss in managing wide range of businesses. And again, this exposure has allowed me to see that, to think back, what can I do rather than to complain every day on Facebook about Malaysians' education. I'm a locally grad. It used to be called University Pertanian Malaysia. I was very, very not glamorous then. Now I'm much more glamorous, called Putra Malaysia.
Yes, I remember that place. Yeah.
Yeah. Where I'm not supposed to say this on live, but yes, we have a little bit fair share of stealing durians from some trees during the uni days. So it got me thinking, and where can I contribute? I'm not getting any younger, so one of the days decided that it's enough of working for people, and why not do something? Yeah, before I get too old and cannot walk anymore. So consider my national service. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So your national service was starting this preschool.
Yeah, I think there's a saying in Cantonese, but I'm sure it's universal in English as well. So it goes like in Cantonese. So some soi ting pass up, meaning a child at 3 years old, the things that they learn will actually bring all the way up to 80 years old. So there's some fundamentals that we learn about character, life, that will guide us through the years. If we go deep into lifelong learning. So I was thinking that, of course, kindergarten is also the thing that I could afford. My ambition is to start a primary school, because I think I've got one of my best years of learning in primary school with the teachers there. Yeah, if there's only few teachers, there's only one teacher that I remember, Madam Quack. Yeah, the feeling that she gave me in standard 1, really, really nice. So, and I also think that primary school age is the time where we can actually explore a lot of things. Mindset are not very molded yet. So that's still remains as my lifelong ambition to have a primary school. But very, very funny how we start about Johan Preschool.
Yeah, tell us. I mean, it's very interesting you're saying, because I'm a great believer, and I do a lot of coaching work with adults, and then I begin to find out I do something called timeline therapy work to help them clear emotions and like limiting beliefs, right? And I find that a lot of these things get planted before the age of 7. Because at that time, children are very impressionable. They just absorb like sponges and take on whatever you tell them. So, I mean, it's a great place to start, really, because if you're going to start helping to shape mindsets and all this, I mean, yeah, you can go at any stage in a person's life, but if you get them at that age, right, as you say, preschool before the age of 6 and 7, that's really, really powerful. So tell me, how did the concept for Johan Preschool come about?
Johan Preschool. Why? Big question. Okay. So well, the school is started by 3 of us, so I have to give a shout out to my other founders.
Sure,
Yeah, one is of course Shireen, and the other one is Max. So we are very passionate about education in general, and of course, I think I'm the oldest among 3 of us, founders, and there's a lot of things that we remembered and we could see, because I think my generation is the transition period where we moved away from, we were the first few people to have emails. We were the first few people to know what is internet, and now today we have artificial intelligence. We can work through everything through phone. We had dial-up back then, so we can see that, hey, we're in the middle of something, and we could started to see this young generation. There's this saying called strawberry generations. In some of my younger friends, they call it strawberry generations. Refers to, you poke a little bit, the strawberry will go damaged, right?
Tell me about it. It's a total lack of resilience. They're very, very fragile.
Yeah. And that's where we have this helicopter parenting and tiger parenting happening. So what we want, so through our travels, through our experience in the corporate, managing 100 millions of businesses and everything, we could see that, hey, there's a link between how we grow up, the skills that we have, It's not so much about intellectual, it's about having heart and having certain principles. And you can't get it from books to a certain extent. And it's also the failures that you have, the small resilience is very hard to teach for adults especially. So we think that, hey, why not we just, I quit my job, didn't know what to do. I know I wanted to do with education. So I went around to actually ask for opinions. I talked to principals, professors, friends who are managing colleges. So very quickly, on one of the last kindergarten that I visited, which was in SS2, as I was about to leave, I was shown around, okay, this is kindergarten, how children are, what should we take note of? The owner was very kind to give me an insights. As I was about to leave, and then she just dropped me and said that, hey, I want to sell the kindergarten, would you be interested? I was like, oh, wow. It didn't sort of, I didn't think about it, that it is possible. But then I said, okay. And she has actually announced to all the families and students that they're closing. But the deadline was in 1.5 weeks. So what I did was to call up 2 of my friends and say that, hey, can you check your bank account if you have enough money? And we have to make a decision quick before this lady closes the school. So there were a few things. One of the things that I think you should mention, it was actually started in 1977, the same year as my date of birth, year of birth. So I said, hey, not too bad. Good sign, 40 over years that back then. So, okay, why not look at the bank account? Enough. Then we just jump into it. Since there's nothing more than action, right? So we just jump into it, not knowing how to do it. Sorry for graduates of Johan Preschool 6 years ago. But from the parents, I think we did quite well. So that is how we started. The concept of the Johan Preschool, in other words, is we believe in hands-on. Again, we have benefited a lot in our opportunities on learning things hands-on. So we emphasize on self-care, self-esteem, childhood experience is very important. So we actually tested parents during interview. If you want to join us, I would actually, if on a day where you see me on duty, I would actually drop a little question to the parents to say, hey, madam, by the way, we ask our students to wash the toilets, it's their duty. Then I would just observe the parents and see how their faces are. And if the faces was like, this kind of faces, or we say that, it is compulsory that you have to join us for sports day and annual concert. And if you are not really interested in it, then we might have to give you another kindergarten's phone number. So we believe that it's not just the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3 for sure, because there's so many things you can learn in university, secondary and colleges. But self-care, self-reliance, self-esteem comes from basic sensory learning as well. So our concept is to provide that caring, loving environment for children to go as wide as possible. That's why our logo, a little bit of plug-in, our logo is like a kite, right? So all kites can fly to the sky, and it's a matter of the person who flies the kite. Some of them are big kite, they can go higher, but does not mean they can fly totally quickly before it's too far for you to bring them back. And some of them, they need a few more tug along for them to rise up a little bit. So everyone has an opportunity. They come from different talents and backgrounds. So we are also a little bit about individual learning, trying to cater as well, because everyone starts from different starting point.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So that's what we want to have, a little bit of that old school, giving them space to grow and run and have fun. Meanwhile, preparing them for the next level immediately, which is primary school. Oh, I hope that's easily to understand.
Yeah. That's quite amazing. That's really amazing. That one thing that struck me as you were speaking, Joe, that I really liked is that you started it because of a philosophy, wanting to approach education differently and
Yeah.
build a different set of skills. But at the same time, you had invested money, and so it was a business as well. But you didn't compromise your values. Like, there were parents like, oh no, we'd like to stay, but we don't want our kids to wash the toilets because they've never done it before. It's very demeaning. And then you like very gracefully showed them some other kindergarten's number to go. I think that's the right way to go, because I think very often we kind of give in and acquires to what parents want. And you're right. You write about the helicopter parents. I think the strawberry generation was created by helicopter parents. And I know that there might be parents listening out there who might not agree and might get even a little annoyed. What do you mean? You mean to tell me that my children are fragile because of me? Yes. Because for some reason my generation of people, we were treated a bit harshly lah. Okay, so we had a different set of issues and all that. But what you said also, resilience is not easily taught. Resilience comes with experience. Resilience comes when you face barriers and you're able to push through those barriers. That's what makes you strong. So right now what happens is young people, when they face barriers, they just kind of crumble. They don't have the mental resilience to push through with it. And so I can see that your curriculum is based on wanting to shape them up to be self-reliant and independent and so on. So what kind of things do you teach in these preschoolers? Some fun stuff.
Well, okay. Well,
other than washing toilets lah,
Well, okay. We have wow. Okay. So, for example, one of the things that we're very, very proud of is actually our science projects. Like, you can't teach about love and caring to a child if you don't give them responsibility and a chance to take care. And of course, being so young, the easiest is animals and pets. So we have the concept of, say, for example, we start with a 4 years old. That's the youngest. So before you go to 4, you have 3 years old, and then everyone will have a single plant. So if they dies, then at least they will cry. But they also learn that, in order to keep this little plant alive, I need to give something they need, what is sunlight and water. You give a little bit too much, but luckily we can start all over again. So for the 4 years old, we actually have ants. Ants, yeah, correct. So Uncle Joe really have to go and study and think about it.
And find the ants.
Find the ants, the concept. Children are very sensitive and allergic to many things these days. And of course, so now, but surprisingly, the good thing about globalization is that there's formicariums. That means like plastic and simulating like exactly an anthill. So actually, we will start with ants like a queen. Do you know that queen can actually give birth to any sex and what do you call this? Stuff that she needs, caretaker, bodyguards and everything. Ants is also the first who organize hospitals in a very organized way. They will dedicated a room by the rubbish bin. They put a room where they store the food. So 4 years old will get a chance to look at the formicarium and take care of the ants and grow from a few ants to a colony. So 5 years old is where is started with a little bit of a pet peeve of Uncle Joe. Is every time when you ask a child where did the chicken come from, they will say supermarkets. Oh, that gets me very, very, very worked up. So what we had is also actually we have an incubator of our own as a science project. So we work with one of our vendors. We get eggs that are fertilized. So the children can actually observe and see in real life how chickens get hatched from the eggs. And then we grow a variety of them until the full cycle comes back where the chicken actually lays the egg. And then on a good day, we call it Harry Potter Day. It's just like the Harry Potter cartoon where all of us will prepare breakfast together and eat together. So so they need to bring, and it will be funny. You see some of our neighbors, they will see that, hey, people walk their dogs or bring their pets out. We actually walk our chickens in a park during picnic. So that's also one of the things we do. And for 6 years old, they have to breed fighting fish. It must be Malaysian fighting fish. Yeah, so there's a male and female to learn about sex cycles, mating and everything. So one of it, that's it. The second thing that we do is actually savings. Admittedly, Uncle Joe is not a very good person at saving money. Uh, so what we do is actually we give a tool together with the parents to say that, okay, you know, there's Hari Raya tong and the Chinese biscuit tongs, right? So we drill a hole. Uncle Joe will make a hole that's only 10 cents big. So we give the tool to the parents to say that, okay, uncle and aunties, Mr. and Mrs. So let's work together. Let's educate children the value of money. These days, when children want something, parents just buy, and they don't value it, right? And I think a lot of times when children cannot take rejection and we understand that sometimes you need to work for it. So what we do is actually a tool with the parents that actually, if the children helps the parents at home, okay, up to the standards of our parents. So the parents can actually say, work it around, give reward, use a medium to work with the children to say, okay, negotiated, you managed to do this, you wash the car for daddy, we'll give you a 10 cent. So at the end of the year, we will, well, this is pre-pandemic, we will actually have a shopping day where our team will actually go to identify a shopping mall, not mall, sorry, a store, grocery store. We have worked with quite a few good ones. So we talk to the manager to talk about security, and we do ask them for a dedicated cashier where the children can actually use their money based on the 10 cents, they'll go and buy things. But the biggest thing is what we want is actually when children wants to buy the things and they count and they realize that what they want to buy can never enough. And they will cry, they will learn, but they also understand that, hey, it's not that I want everything I can buy. So that is also one of our savings. And this goes for 4 or 5 years and will repeat. So
I think that's great, Joe. What you're taking is breaking that entitlement mindset. The fact that sometimes you want something and you can't have it because you don't have enough money. I think today, because you know you have a reasonably affluent middle class segment who wants to give everything that they were deprived of, you know, to their children.
Yeah.
They're sometimes very unthinking about that. And I remember when my daughter was in secondary school and she was going to play games in the afternoon in school. And she said to me, Mommy, can I borrow your Nikes? And I said, no.
wow.
I said, no, you can't. I bought those Nikes in my 40s. I worked very hard for them. I didn't have Nikes in school. You wear your normal school rubber shoes and go because you don't want to go to school and, you know, show your poorer friends and all that it's not about showing off, you know. And she totally understood it. And I think when she started working was when she bought her first pair of Nikes. So but then a lot of parents, they don't see the point in that. Why should I deprive my child if I can afford it? It's not about depriving them. It's about not giving them a sense of entitlement. That's fantastic. You know. Okay, so you are doing all these as what the traditional school system might look at, very unconventional, teaching your children to nurture ants and chickens and that sort of clean bathrooms and count money and all that. What do the parents think about all this? I mean, first of all, you started with one school and now you've got 3, I believe.
Yes. Very
Okay,
fortunately,
so that in itself speaks for itself that you're able to expand this concept and get buy-in. How did you manage to do that?
Well, of course, I must add that I'm not very fortunate yet to say to grow. It doesn't mean that somehow it ended up that our role was to rescue not very well kindergarten and nursery. So, but I'm very fortunate to have friends who really believe in what I do and they chip in. So where we are today is actually the support of a few friends who is behind the scenes and they believe in what we do and supported us. So it was by luck, by very, very good grace and luck that we are able to extend it. Of course, one of the reasons why we decided to extend the second one was because I realized that being a non-education background, I realized there's only so little things we can do when we started at 4, 5, 6. That's the definition of kindergarten. And in Malaysia, we have few authorities that we need to actually fulfill. So that prompted me and my team to decide that, hey, maybe we should learn a little bit younger. So that's why we also by fortunate that we get to know that there's TASCA in Malaysia. TASCA refers to daycare centers where we can take care of younger babies. So we take care of newborn all the way to 4 years old. So just for us to understand, to see how is the growing up happens, and to a certain extent, by the 5 and 6 is already too late to mold them and prepare them because of the base the way they have. So we decided to go a little bit younger so that we can have a clear picture of actually how a child grows from, say, toddler, 1 years old, how they react, and all the way to 6 years old. So another thing that we are quite proud of is we actually do age appropriate activities. That means, maybe due to competition, a lot of parents, we look at Singapore, for example, Korea, they came up in world PISA tests, they were like multi-languages, they are #1 in math and science. All these are good, really, and it's inspiring that how these nations develop into a big powerhouse, right? But there's also a lot of things that they need to learn when they are young. And it is also helpful to know that they should do the things where they can do first. A lot of parents, they come to us and say, hey, my friend's daughter is 2 years old and they can write their names very well. That's good. I'm surprised. They shouldn't be, but they can. Good. But, we just have to educate the parents. Say, do you know that before they can write beautifully, their fingers need to be very strong? And no child is born with the strong fingers. Therefore, they need to play with rubber bands. They need to squeeze a lot of things. They need to climb. So a lot of parents these days, they have lost this. Maybe it's also by family units. They don't have the elders living with them. There's a saying that you need the whole village to bring up a child. So a lot of things, unfortunately, working in urban cities, both parents need to work. And they lost a little bit of wisdom along the way. So actually, a big part of our work, you mentioned about the concept of Johan Preschool, is actually working very closely with parents. I think we are one of the very rare preschools that demands parents that we will meet you 4 times a year. We don't see you end of the year, like normal any school, because if you see you by end of the year, the only thing we can do is say, okay, thank you for your support. Bye-bye. See you next year, which doesn't help at all. So it is also a very strict requirement of us that we will have to meet the parents, the class teacher, meet the parents every 3 months, so that we still have time to exchange information. And if we see any reaction from a child, most probably it happens at home, or any small changes, so that we consider the well-being of the child, so that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. so-and-so, we realize that your child has changed a little bit. Anything happen, or any disappointment happen, or any big news happen, you're moving, so that we still have time to improve the next 3 months. So the parents, because a lot of times is we have to work together, and children are easily confused these days, because teachers will do one thing and the parents have different cultural background. They will do another thing, which is nothing wrong. But it is up to the adults to work together, right?
No, I mean, it gives children conflicting values. Like you go to school, got one set of values, then you go home, your parents say, amen, darling, no need to do like that. So I think, yeah, you are absolutely right. And you know what's the sad thing today in the education system, right?
Yeah.
A lot of parents just want to delegate everything to the teacher, and they think that's it. They pay a lot of money for private school education. They're in school until 3-4 o'clock, and then after that, I don't have to worry about anything. But you are so right, because that alignment of values, the philosophies, and all those things, that needs the parental sort of collaboration with the educators to ensure that the child is really well balanced.
Yeah.
So your parents, I mean, convincing them has not been difficult. Has it been a challenge?
I think one thing is we are fortunate to find some parents who believe in what we do. They face a similar situation, and they see that, yeah, it's true that a lot of things, and especially parents who have gone through a lot in their life, they realize that it's really what they do when they are young that matters. And hopefully they will become a North Star for them when they grow up, because technical skills and know-how can be obtained and learned, but habits are very hard to learn and break. So we are fortunate to have enough parents to do it, but we are actually against a very huge battle because modern families don't really believe in old values. And they want an instant gratification and instant results. And it's a battle. We are actually creating awareness with parents because children are really naive and they are clean state. I'll give you a small example of what we are facing. It started with me having dinner with my parents. Of course, my younger sister, she's more fortunate to get married to a very good husband, very good family values. And every time we eat together, Adrian, will actually greet my parents before he eats. He'll say, "Pa, Ma, enjoy the dinner." It's like, it instantly made me feel very shy and embarrassed. Like, oh no, I don't even call my parents. So it was few years back. So I encourage children to say that, please enjoy your food. Wait for everyone to start eat together when we have meals. So there was a little young boy, 4 years old, after holiday, came back and cried to me and said, Uncle Joe. I said, what happened? Why are you crying? He said, oh, I greeted my grandfather. Please enjoy your food. Very excitedly because I learned something new, right? Then the grandfather was just shouted and said, what is so good about eating? Shut up and eat your food. So that's exactly his words. At 4 years old, he told me, and I mean, I trust him fully.
Yeah, of course.
Then it comes up with a contradicting thing. So how do I do? Do I continue to educate this boy, my student, because he will continue to do what Uncle Joe and the teachers will ask him to do, but he will have what do you call this? Feedback from family not to do certain things. So sometimes we really need to know about this. One of the things that we highly focus is also how is our relationship with the families of our students. So if we don't bring and enroll them into our community, it's very hard. So that's why some of my teachers say that I very sombong. You know, if parents want to sign up because they got recommended by their friends and family to our preschool, it's not that Uncle Joe don't want to take them in, but if we know that they are not really willing to work based on our philosophy, it's a long-term battle.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Joe, because you have got a philosophy, you've got a principle, you've got a value system that you started this whole, Johan Preschool to inculcate that. And if people want to send their kids there, they got to be willing to play ball with you and do it your way. And if they're not, cannot lah, then how? You know what I mean? You teach their children one thing, then after that, next day they come to school, say, why you teach my children like that? And all this. No, I don't believe in all this. So how are you faring during the pandemic though?
Tough. I think it's really tough on everyone in every sense. I mean, I can't compare to many other industries and companies and businesses. I'm fortunate to have a ragtag of team of teachers. I believe in experienced teachers. I used to have a teacher at 69 years old. I always say that the years of her being a kindergarten teacher is longer than I am alive. So, but we have our fierce battles about certain philosophies as well. So, we also have very fortunate to very young, very modern IT savvy teachers. But last year, I think it was a root call. But I'm very fortunate my teachers decided to take my heat and be tried. So from last year, teachers who can use computer. Teachers who cannot use computers, don't have computers, you have handphones. So we started on 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, because it was a shock, March 18, where Malaysia first experienced what you call a lockdown in modern history. The teachers, our first thing is to concern about the welfare and well-being of our students. All right, because adults are already going crazy. Can you imagine what the small minds will do? So they called, communicated, and we started to reach out to parents, and we go at different stages. So within 2 months, we were back on our foot and we try to call and see what we can do to reach students at home. To the certain extent, we have this thing called home support that we even will courier using Lala Move to your house. One of our parents even took our things and courier back to Kampong in Perak. And so that we can try to do online classes.
That's great,
So
Joe.
we managed to learn some skill sets. Of course, teachers who still need help. And everyone is shy on camera. Even now, even though I've learned a lot of public speaking and things like that, it's still somehow feeling a bit weird seeing yourself in the screen, right? So far we are doing okay. The most important thing, we don't want the children to stop because the momentum is very, very hard to build back.
You're right.
It's not just one stop. There's many stoppages since last year.
Yeah, true.
And one thing that we can actually help children is actually all our students, we record their learning on a yearly basis. This is something I learned from the corporate days. We have learning logs. So one good thing that we have is actually everything that the child does, it is recorded on a whole year basis. So in other words, we can actually monitor the progress. And if they go to the next year, say 4 years old, go to the 5 years old, the 5 years old teacher has actually a very good view and history of what are the capabilities in a balanced view, how are they doing? So they know how to pick up. So one thing good about us is every time there's a lockdown or there's a limited movement control, teachers can actually quickly go back and see what is necessary and we can plan how to catch up. So because we have a thorough understanding of all the areas that where a child is good or not so good at. That's the only thing, but it's very tedious. And I must say, again, some parents don't understand why we can't give A or B or C plus. You can't give a C plus on how do they care for animals, you know, or how they speak up.
Yeah, it's not something so quantifiable, you know, it's more qualitative evaluation that you give. That's fantastic. I mean, all of us have had to pivot and go onto the virtual platform. I myself as a trainer, I love that face-to-face interaction, but what to do now? You have to go online. You have to learn these new skills. It's a new world we live in. Just one final question for you, Joe. This is a very interesting concept in education, bringing the old school back to school, and it's employing a very holistic approach to teaching young children and sustainability as well to ensure that these values are inculcated. Are you and your team open to collaborations with others who might be interested in sort of reproducing your concept in their own schools?
Of course, we are always open to collaborate. I have been benefiting a lot of areas where we can collaborate in all sorts of ways. The only thing is we are not sure if our concept is fully embraced by many people because it's an accumulation of many years of our experiences and travels and thinking and exposure to different ways of managing things, you know. So yes, in short, definitely, because I think one of the ways why parents are also open because we combine the modern and the true trial and tested philosophies. A lot of things that my teachers have to learn is how to use Zoom and go into breakout rooms, how to annotate. But at the same time, we realize that, hey, too many minutes in the screen time is no good. So meanwhile, we say that we are okay for Zoom because that's the only thing we have. But on the other hand, we are asking parents to please stop giving YouTube to your children because we are now suffering because of the whole year of YouTube last year. And actually it's affecting children's behaviors now this year, which makes it online even tougher. So yes, we are. The only thing is we are a very, very small team. So it might be a little bit slow on our side, but yes, we are always open to see how we can work and grow together. There are many, many areas that we can still introduce things.
Exactly. It didn't have to be the whole concept in entirety, but parts of it to those who might want to embrace it.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm seeing, Joe, maybe you might be moving into education consultancy in addition to running the school. But, I picked up one thing that I've picked up for you. I mean, I picked up a lot of things. It's been very interesting what you're sharing, but thinking about my 1-year-old grandchild now, I think I might need to go and increase her manual dexterity by giving her rubber balls and rubber bands and all that to play with, so that when she's already started using those implements, the magnetic, boards to write. She's very excited about that. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But thank you. Thank you for coming on with us and sharing with us all of this. I mean, I would be so excited, if I had a child at preschool level now, to send them to your school and see them get this education which combines academic learning, letters and numbers, together with all those other aspects that actually build a child from within, the character as well as the skills. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me on board today. Yeah. I hope I'm a good guest again. Yeah, because
it was interesting. I mean,
I don't get to go on live so often. Yes. But hopefully everyone gets something. Lastly, I just hope to say that it's good to have smart brains, but also warm hearts. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Smart brains and warm hearts. That's what Joe Yong and his colleagues are trying to implement and inculcate in children from Johan Preschool.
Yeah.
And you're listening to me, Sheila Singham, speak to Joe Yong, one of the founders of Johan Preschool, on the Sheila Exchange. Thank you, Joe, for joining us.
Have a good day.
You too, and see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.